Two men in tactical gear stood on my lawn, presenting a piece of paper they called an arrest warrant. They were trespassing, and they had no idea who I was. They were black, head to toe, with HOA cop stitched on their vests. Their postures were rigid, hands resting near holstered sidearms, a performance of authority, hollow at its core. The taller one extended a folded document. "You're under arrest. Come with us." I didn't reach for it. I studied the cheap paper in his hand. No official seals, no judge's name, just ink on letterhead. "I'm not going anywhere," I said, my voice level, "and you have no power here." The second man shifted, his thumb brushing his gun belt. "Non-compliance will force us to escalate." That's when I saw the truth. This wasn't an error, it was a deliberate, calculated move. Before we go further, drop your country in the comments. Let's see where this story resonates. To grasp why armed men showed up at my door, you need context. I'm Leo Vance. I moved here for a quiet life after a career that demanded everything. I avoid drama. This infuriated our HOA president, Margaret Ford. Margaret governed by whim. She invented rules, levied fines without basis, and held meetings in secret. Most residents paid to avoid her wrath. I did not. Our conflict started with a fence. She claimed it was 2 inches over a property line that existed only in her notes. She demanded I tear it down. I asked for the official survey. She couldn't produce it. So I hired a professional. His report proved my fence was perfectly legal. I submitted the findings. Margaret was livid. Her authority had been publicly challenged. The harassment began. Baseless fines, threatening letters, and then I noticed the financial trails. She was steering security contracts to a firm owned by her brother-in-law, HOA funds for private, unvetted enforcement. I compiled the evidence, emails, invoices, bank records, and formally requested a financial audit. The letters stopped. The fines vanished. Then the intimidation patrol started. A dark SUV circling the block, men in uniforms watching my house. Until this moment, 2 imposters on my grass, a fabricated warrant, and the unspoken threat of their weapons. I looked at the paper again. "This is worthless. Leave my property." The first man smirked, tucking the document away. "You're coming with us. Consent is optional." That's when I understood. Margaret hadn't sent them to scare me. She'd sent them to remove me, and they had absolutely no clue who they were attempting to abduct. I gave a final, clear directive. "Walk away, now. You are trespassing." The second man angled his body toward me, his hand now openly resting on his pistol grip, a classic intimidation display. "You don't make the rules here," the first one said. I took a deliberate step back, onto my porch, directly under the blinking red light of the security camera. "Last warning. Leave." He stepped forward and reached for my arm. Time condensed. I slipped inside his grasp and drove a fist into his solar plexus. The air left his lungs in a ragged gasp. He folded. His partner lunged. I pivoted, catching him with a sharp, short strike to the jaw. He stumbled back, disoriented. The first man, wheezing, swung wildly. I stepped inside the arc and drove my elbow into his cheekbone, followed by a knee to his thigh. He crumpled against the porch column. Then, the critical mistake. The dazed man went for his gun. I saw the holster strap release. I closed the distance before the muzzle cleared. My hand locked onto his wrist, twisting violently downward. He cried out. The pistol clattered under the wooden deck. We grappled. He tried to tackle. I sprawled, driving him into the railing, and delivered 2 precise, debilitating blows. He went limp. The other man scrambled toward the fallen weapon. I reached it first. I didn't aim to kill. I fired once. The bullet tore through his calf. He screamed, collapsing, blood immediately darkening his pant leg. I backed up, breathing controlled, the weapon now in my possession and trained on them. "Don't move." "Please," the shot man sobbed, clutching his leg. "Call an ambulance." "Who sent you?" My voice was ice. Margaret Ford. She paid us. She said you were a problem that needed to disappear." I retrieved my phone. "Emergency services. 2 armed men impersonating officers attempted an unlawful arrest on my property. 1 suspect has a shotgun wound. Send police and medical." The camera's red light blinked, an unblinking witness. The real police arrived with swift, overwhelming force. I set the weapon down and stepped back, hands open, invisible. I'm the homeowner. I was defending myself against an attempted kidnapping. Everything is recorded. They secured the scene with professional efficiency. Medics worked on the wounded man. The other was cuffed, his bravado replaced by shock. An officer picked up the warrant and shook his head in disbelief. When they asked for my identification, I provided it. My background was noted, not with fanfare, but with a silent, profound understanding from the sergeant on scene. "We'll handle this, sir." The costume of authority is torn off by the hands of truth. And they did. The investigation was swift because the evidence was undeniable. Doorbell footage captured the entire confrontation. My compiled dossier of HOA financial misconduct provided the motive. Margaret Ford's scheme unraveled completely. Subpoenaed bank records showed clear fraud, conspiracy, and misuse of funds to hire criminal intimidation. The two fake enforcers faced justice. The one I shot, facing permanent injury, accepted a plea deal for 12 years. His partner got 8. Margaret Ford was not protected by her title. She was charged with conspiracy, wire fraud, and solicitation of kidnapping. The evidence was incontrovertible. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison in order to pay massive restitution. The HOA dissolved in disgrace. The neighborhood voted to disband it entirely. The shadow was lifted. Now when I mow my lawn, I sometimes glance at that spot on the porch. I don't feel anger. I feel a quiet certainty. Real power doesn't need a costume. It needs only integrity. Those who rule by fear build their kingdom on sand. It washes away the moment someone stands firm, knows their rights, and refuses to be moved. If you stand against corruption and for the truth, show it. Hit the like button for Winds of Thought. Your support tells the algorithm these stories matter.